I lost 75 pounds and the scale didn't move in one straight line. Most people think that fat loss is simple: start, lose weight, finish. But it actually has 5 stages, and stage 2 is where the plan often looks broken even when it isn't. I'll show you the trap in each stage and what to check next. Let's go. Stage 2. The first stall is information, not failure. I'm starting with stage 2 because this is where most people hit a wall. At this stage, you've cleaned up your nutrition, you're past the initial weight loss, and you've been steadily making progress. But then the scale slows down. Hunger gets louder, and the exact plan that felt brilliant a few weeks ago suddenly feels broken. We've all been there, and most of us immediately think we need to overhaul the entire plan, but that's usually the wrong response. Here's what might be actually happening. A lighter body uses less energy to move. Some people also just move less without noticing it when calories stay low. On top of that, weight loss can produce metabolic, behavioral, and hormonal adaptations that make maintaining that same deficit harder than originally predicted. In a 2010 review, researchers Michael Rosenbaum and Rudolf Leibel described these responses as adaptive thermogenesis. They explained how the body adapts to weight loss in ways that favor regaining weight. That doesn't mean that your metabolism is damaged. It means that the equation is changed. And that's why the solution to stage 2 is an audit, not a whole emergency. First, ask whether this is a real plateau. A few flat weigh-ins might be just noise. Look at your weekly average weight across at least 2 consistent weeks. Second, check whether your intake drifted. Restaurant meals, cooking oil, drinks, portions are common areas to look. Third, check your output. Did your steps fall because work got busy? Did training become less consistent? Fourth, ask whether your plan has become too aggressive to follow without rebound eating. The wrong move is cutting another 500 calories after one bad Monday. The right move is identifying which input changed. When I've hit plateaus, I've often found that my movement throughout the day quietly decreased. The answer wasn't dropping my calories again. The answer was bringing my daily movement outside the gym back up. Now let's go back to stage 1, the honeymoon stage. The honeymoon lies about the pace. You stop grazing, you eat more protein, you stop eating out as often, and as a result, you might eat less sodium. Glycogen and the water stored with it might shift. There's also less food sitting in your digestive system, so the scale often moves quickly at first. And that progress counts, but it's not all body fat. The trap is using those first 2 weeks as your permanent forecast. If you lose 4 pounds in week 1, you start expecting 4 pounds each week. Then week 3 produces half a pound, and it feels like a whole failure, even though half a pound might be a perfectly useful pace. My stage 1 rule is simple. Use that early momentum to install the boring parts of the system. For example, pick 2 repeatable meals, set a movement floor, decide what happens on Friday night before Friday night arrives. Enjoy the honeymoon, but don't expect it to last forever. Stage 3. The grind rewards adherence, not novelty. Stage 3 is where novelty disappears. You might be getting sick of your usual meal preps. The scale still moves, but slowly enough that one restaurant weekend can hide a couple weeks of progress. That's when people start shopping for a new identity. Keto this week, fasting next week, a new supplement after that, a new cardio plan because the old one stopped feeling interesting. But the solution to stage 3 usually isn't finding a whole new diet. It's finding a diet that you'll repeat. In a 2005 randomized trial, Michael Dansinger and colleagues assigned 160 adults to one of 4 popular diets: Atkins, Ornish, Weight Watchers, or the Zone diet. They found that weight loss was strongly associated with how closely people followed their assigned diet. Weight loss was not significantly associated with which of the 4 diets they received. And that's why I prefer food templates over drastic changes like cutting out carbs entirely. Start with a protein anchor, add volume, add fiber, then include enough carbs and fats to fuel your training and fit your preferences. Chicken, vegetables, rice, Greek yogurt, berries, cereal, eggs, potatoes, fruit. The foods can change, but their roles stay the same. Stage 3 is also where you make the plan easier before making it stricter. If you miss breakfast because weekends are chaotic, build a portable option. If weekends erase your weekday deficit, create a weekend rule. If every dinner takes 40 minutes, batch cook parts of the meal. The question isn't which diet would work the fastest, the question is which version of this will I still follow 8 weeks from now. Stage 4. Goal weight is the handoff, not the finish line. So stage 4 begins when you reach your goal and realize you've never practiced living at that goal. During weight loss, the mission's clear: create a manageable deficit and keep those useful behaviors alive. At the goal weight, people often make one of 2 mistakes. They keep dieting because eating more feels dangerous, or they return to their old routine because they believe the diet's over. And both approaches treat maintenance like empty space, but maintenance is its own phase. In a 2011 study, Priya Sumithran and her colleagues followed people after substantial weight loss. Participants had lost an average of about 13.5 kilos using an aggressive low-energy diet. 1 year later, the researchers found persistent changes in several appetite-related hormones. Participants also continued to report increased hunger. Because the study used an aggressive diet, we shouldn't assume every person will experience the same response. But the practical point matters. Reaching your goal weight doesn't guarantee that appetite immediately becomes easy. My stage 4 system has 4 pieces. Number 1, move your calories towards your estimated maintenance deliberately instead of celebrating it with a week of unmeasured eating. The exact pace is individual. There's no proven staircase that resets your metabolism. Number 2, keep the protein, the lifting, and your movement behavior floor. These behaviors aren't punishment, they're part of how you live at your new weight. 3, continue weighing yourself regularly. And 4, create a response plan. A single high weigh-in changes nothing. A sustained trend outside of your chosen range triggers a small correction. Stage 4 isn't the end of the process. It's where your hard-earned results become durable. Stage 5, the return. Stage 5 begins when real life interrupts the system that you've built. Travel happens, holidays happen, call weekends happen, you miss workouts, you eat differently, you stop weighing yourself for a while. The mistake is letting one disrupted week turn into a complete loss of control. You don't lose your results because you had one indulgent weekend. You lose them when the disrupted routine becomes your new normal. So stage 5 is about shortening that distance between drifting and returning. My return system is simple. I restart with my next normal meal, I put my default foods in the house, I resume my usual movement floor, and I complete one normal workout instead of trying to punish myself with an extreme one. Then I watch the weekly trend before making any larger adjustments. In a 10-year observational study, Graham Thomas and his colleagues followed 2,886 members of the National Weight Control Registry who had already lost at least 30 pounds and maintained that loss for at least a year. They found that declines in behaviors such as physical activity, dietary restraint, and self-weighing are associated with greater weight regain over time. This was a selected group of successful maintainers, so the study doesn't prove those behaviors will produce the same results for everyone, but it supports a useful principle. Your goal isn't to avoid every little disruption. Your goal is to become good at returning. You don't need a more aggressive plan every time progress slows. You need the right response for the specific stage that you're in. So if fat loss feels stuck, start asking, what stage am I in and what does this stage require? And if you're in stage 2 and the numbers still don't make sense, watch this video next. They'll help you find that gap between the deficit you logged and the deficit you ate.